Welcome back to Mr. Mod's best Project Zomboid Mods of 2023. This is episode number 5 in the series. If you're new to the channel, make sure to see the previous entries. There's a link in the description. And also make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite mod is. I'd love to know. Alright, with that out of the way, let's dive on in. Up first, we're going to take a look at a mod that makes collecting resources a lot easier and more realistic. It's called Obvious Collecting. It's made by Braven. And Obvious Collecting lets you pick up items that you normally wouldn't be able to. As you can see here, you can pick up items you see on the ground, finally. No longer will you be tempted by those twigs that you just can't pick up. But for me, it's the stones, personally. This makes scavenging way easier and more immersive. So, it's kind of a trade-off. Would you like it to be more gamified? Because vanilla does that for you. Would you like it to be more immersive and pretty realistic? Obvious Collecting does that for you. Whether it's twigs, trash, cans, rocks, whatever it is, you can pick it up now, as long as you can see it. This mod's definitely worth checking out. And make sure to tweak anything you want in the sandbox options. This mod has a ton of different things you can change, so plenty of ways to tweak it just to your liking. Make sure to check this one out. And this goes for all the mods on this list, but links are in the description. Next up, we're going to take a look at a mod that overhauls the melee weapons in the game, making them more diverse, realistic, and fun to use. It's called Simple Overhaul Melee Weapons, or SOMW for short. This has easily become a must-have mod for me, so let's go ahead and check it out. SOMW is a global mod, which means it makes changes to the melee weapons in the game across the board, such as changing the balance from vanilla, updating weapon models and texture, and even adding some new weapons and some new craftable weapon recipes. So, one of the main features here is the models and textures. They look really good. They're really high quality, and in my opinion, they lean closer to realism than the vanilla models did. Not to mention they look really amazing just when you're using them in the game. It's really cool because the blood mapping will be individualized to, the correct spot on the weapon or tool, which we don't have in vanilla currently. This also adds a lot of new lore-friendly weapons. We have carpenter axes, we have camping hatchets, roofing axe, entrenching shovel, an ice axe. One of my favorites is the improvised metal axe using the shovel, because it looks fierce. You would not want to be on the receiving end of that thing. You also have some long and short tree branches, which you can kind of use as like day one weapons of last resort. Or maybe you're just crazy and you would like to do a tree branch only playthrough. Good luck. You also have aluminum baseball bats added, walking cranes for the blind, carving forks, hand files, butterfly knife, combat knife. My favorite, military machete, we'll get into that later. And so much more. You can find the full list in the mod description by following the link below. And a big feature that makes this melee weapon expansion stand out from other mods that I've showcased, like CJ's melee expansion, is this actually does change the mechanics of the weapons, specifically to things like short blade and short blunt objects. They weren't really that useful compared to all the other weapon categories beforehand. The risk was not worth the reward, so to speak. This kind of tweaks that. This makes the damage higher, and it makes it more viable to take the risk of using a short blade or a short blunt weapon. So now you can actually make use of all the weapons in the game, and they all feel much more balanced and like they have their own niche to fill, which I really enjoy. This also is great because it makes, well, this is a sub mod, you don't have to enable it, but I like it, so I recommend it. It's called Easy Spear Attachment. It comes with this, and it makes it so you can attach the spears easier. How nice is that? So what are you waiting for? If you want to spice up your melee combat in Project Zomboid, download SOMW now from the Steam Workshop. You will not be disappointed, and you're going to have a lot of fun messing around with all these new weapons being added. Next up, we have Monkey's Character Creation Loadout. This is a really nice mod. It's pretty simple. It's great for role-playing purposes, challenge purposes, anything like that. If you need to spawn with a certain weapon, this is going to be your best way to do it, most likely. This adds a couple new tabs, as you can see here, to the character creation screen, letting you start with a firearm of your choice, as much ammo as you choose, as well as a melee weapon of your choice. This is a really cool mod because it's multiplayer compatible, so you can put this on your server, let people spawn in with whatever starter pack they want. You can even limit how much ammunition they're able to spawn in, what the maximum is. So it's very customizable, and as you can see, modded items also show up, which is really nice. What can I say? Awesome mod. Go check this one out, you guys. The next mod on our list is Braven's Achievements. You can see that in the bottom right corner of the screen here, and those will be popping up throughout this whole series, so stay tuned for more. Next up, we're going to take a look at a mod that adds something that every zombie apocalypse survivor needs, a skateboard. Yeah, you heard me, a skateboard. The most efficient, reliable, and stylish way to travel in a world full of the undead. Thanks to this re-uploaded mod, we can now use the original skateboard mod in Build 41, without the game breaking. So, the skateboard mod adds a new vehicle, obviously a skateboard. You can find them in various locations, but the easiest way to spawn with one for sure is to get the other mod's skater trait and then use that character trait. You'll always spawn with one. Once you have the board, you can ride it by dropping it on the ground and pressing the E key just to get in any other vehicle. Occasionally your character will try to drive it like a car and sit down. It's really funny. I think that's a feature, not a bug personally, but each their own, right? The skateboard's a really fun and useful vehicle to use. It lets you go faster than walking, and it doesn't consume fuel, and it's not very noisy either. It's got a pretty reasonable weight, and it's really easy to carry it around with you. You can even hit zombies with it as a weapon of last resort. It has its own custom sound and animation, which is really nice in my opinion. Just stay away from the grass, I beg you. If you hit a zombie, a wall, or any other object, you will regret it. The skateboard giveth, and the skateboard taketh away. Amen. And lucky for us, we can use that skateboard to help demonstrate the next mod, Immersive Horror Overlays. This is a really, really cool mod that I've not seen one like this before in the game. It makes things a lot more realistic and terrifying. It adds several screen overlay effects, which will represent various status conditions like bleeding, pain, low health, and more. It's pretty simple but really effective mod because it makes the game feel way more immersive without really adding all that much. It's also really good to have a visual cue to when you're maybe near terminal damage or when you start bleeding heavy. It gives you that much more time to react. So as you can see, it adds bleeding, so whenever you start bleeding, the blood drops will gather all around the edges of your screen, slowly getting larger, and they'll grow in proportion to your bleeding. Same with pain. When you're in pain, you'll start to see a little white noise looking effect, and those pale spots will keep growing in proportion to the level of pain. It also adds a vignette effect, so whenever you are at the edge of death, like terminal, you kind of get tunnel vision, which I think it's really cool to see all of those combined at the same time. It really made for a more harrowing experience where you really know how close you are to the line. So what are you guys waiting for? Go try this one out. It adds a lot to the game. I also want to shout out the Louisville International Airport mod. This is a nice map pack. Whoever made the textures for these planes, I mean, they look great. I couldn't believe too that you can go inside them. I don't really know how to unlock all the doors, so I had to use no clip, but we have planes. How cool is that? I might, have to go make a base out of a plane now and live inside the cabin. It wouldn't be a bad way to do it, to be honest. You could be up in the sky away from the zombies at least. Move those stairs out of the way and you're good to go. Alright, enough daydreaming. Back to the grind. Up next, we're going to take a look at a mod that adds some firepower to your weapons. Literally. It's called Incendiary Ammo, and it's another awesome mod by Braven, who literally is making mods faster than I can even cover them in these videos. Incendiary Ammo is a mod that lets you turn any ammunition type that you would like into incendiary ammunition, meaning that it will set your targets on fire when you shoot them. That includes both zombies and players, so be careful who you're shooting at. By default, this makes shotgun shells into incendiary rounds, but you can customize it to be any ammo using the sandbox options, which is a really nice feature. It's a pretty simple mod, really fun and satisfying, and it makes for a bit more dynamic combat and way more chaotic combat too. Overall, this is definitely one to check out. I mean, do I even have to explain this one? Very nice, but not gonna lie, I miss the banjo still. There's also an alternate version without the eagle if you don't like, America. Next up is Zombrex, just like from Dead Rising. This is awesome. If you liked the They Knew mod, you might like this even more. I certainly do. The reason why, Zombrex is only temporary. It's not a permanent fix to zombification. If you get bitten, you're gonna have to spend the rest of your days hunting down as much Zombrex as you can find. I think this is an awesome mechanic. It makes a bite not the end of the world, as long as you can find Zombrex. Next up is ZomBomb. This adds a new type of zombie to the game that will explode upon contact, so don't get too close. They have a certain look and a certain noise, so you can identify them. I love this mod because it reminds me of Left 4 Dead zombies, and who doesn't want some boomers, right? Next up we have Multihit Limiter. This mod allows you to configure multi-hit in the sandbox settings. Multi-hit is the feature that lets you hit more than one zombie with a single attack, and this lets you change it so it's dependent upon your weapon, your skill level, or your range. This is really useful when you're surrounded, but it can also make the game too easy, so that's why Multihit Limiter is really nice, because you can tweak to your heart's content and find your ideal multi-hit acceptability. So this changes things. So right now I'm using two-handed only, which means I will only be able to push zombies and hit them with two-handed weapons, and those are the ones that have multi-hit. Everything else, like the knife, is only single hit, as you can see here. This is really great because you can really get into the weeds here, and I have it right now just on a pretty basic setting. Only long blunt and long blade weapons that are two-handed will have multi-hit. Everything else won't. This mod is also safe to add or remove mid-game, and it should be compatible with multiplayer as well. So what do you think of this? Do you like the idea of limiting multi-hit, or do you prefer keeping it to the way vanilla handles things? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. Next up we have a very cool mod called Game Night. This is not something I thought we'd be able to do in Project Zomboid ever, but as you can see here, I'm able to play an entire game of Settlers of Catan if I wanted to. I could play an entire game of Monopoly or Backgammon, and there's a whole bunch more. And it's a framework, so anybody, if you know how to make mods, you can take this framework and then build out a game. That's pretty damn cool. This is quite impressive. Like I said, you have everything here. It's got its own UI system. The boards are interactive. As you look, the board itself in the UI, what happens there, it replicates that in the real world. As you can see at Mr. Mod's feet, all the parts and game pieces are out on the board. It's really, really cool. The only thing you can't do so far is flip the table when you get upset. Hopefully we get an update with that eventually. But, I mean, this is awesome. This is going to be perfect for if you have a multiplayer server and you want to play Monopoly, Catan, whatever, you know. Really, really cool idea, and it executed flawlessly. So, my hat off to you, sir. This next mod pairs very well with Game Night, Hanabi's Foods. This adds name brand cereal, candies, and chips to the game. It sounds like it's not that big. It made a huge difference for me being able to make Mr. Mod eat Cheeto Puffs. Come on, that's a dream come true. Now I can make him have a Cheeto only diet, and that's feasible. 10 out of 10 mod. Definitely recommend it. And the final mod for this review is Greenhouse Building Set. I really enjoyed this mod. The greenhouses look really nice. Just super clean design. You make the glass panels by putting broken glass in a roasting pan and putting them in the oven. And then once you have enough glass panels and you have all the other required items, you can go ahead and build your frames. And you put them all up, build whatever shape greenhouse your heart desires, and add a roof. Boom, you have a functional greenhouse. It doesn't, make the crops grow any quicker, but it sure looks nice, doesn't it? And that's more than 50% of the battle. And that brings this episode to a close, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found some mods that you want to try out from this. Let me know in the comments if you saw one that you really enjoyed that you want to try. If you have one that's a must-have mod for you now, I'd love to hear about it, y'all. Just leave it below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to be trying to start up some of my series again going forward. So hopefully going to be moving to maybe about 2 videos a month, hopefully. And then we'll see from there. Alright everyone, have a good one. Gecko out.